Greetings, denizens of the interwebs. It is Independence Day. Well, technically that's tomorrow. But this is my Independence Day video. So, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day, or as they say in England, happy Traitors' Day, you ungrateful colonials. But I kid. 4th of July is, as you know, is the time to celebrate the birthday of America. It is time for family, food, fun, fireworks, and first-degree burns. Oh, I'm sure lots of you out there have lots of wonderful memories about spending time with family and friends and just having yourselves a grand old time this time of year. And I've had several memories from when I was a kid. I live here in Oklahoma now, away from all my family, so I don't have those kind of get-togethers anymore, but when I used to live in Oregon, I used to have them all the time. I remember when I was a fairly young boy, we used to go out to either my Uncle Bruce's or my Uncle Eddie's place out near my grandparents' ranch for major holidays, but mostly the 4th of July was usually my Uncle Bruce's or my Uncle Eddie's. And there was always a lot of fun out there of all different kinds. One thing I really remember was my grandfather. He would always make his homemade barbecue sauce, and he would start early in the morning making this thing, and he would put it and make it in a 5-gallon bucket, just like an old, the old big paint buckets, because that's where he would take all the pieces of chicken and whatever else he was gonna cook, and he would just stick that down in that barbecue sauce and just let it marinate for several hours. And I remember watching him make it, and he would put all these different seasonings in it and stuff like that. But one of his main ingredients, and his not really so much a secret ingredient, was wine. And I remember that the wine he would use would be the same kind of wine he'd drink, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was Carlo Rossi Pink Chablis. Any of you that have heard of that or know about it, the kind he always got came in a great big green glass gallon jug. And he would drink some of that every day. And that was one of the main ingredients he put in his barbecue sauce. When I'm saying he put that in there, I'm not talking about, and we're just going to take this little cup right here, and we're just going to add just a little soup salt of red wine, just to give it just a little bit of a kick, a little bit of a flavor, and just some nice coloring. No, when I talk about making the barbecue sauce with wine, I'm talking about unscrewing the top and glurg, 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 glurg. I'm talking like half a bottle. I'm talking half a gallon of wine in this barbecue sauce. Don't get me wrong, it tasted amazing. But yeah, he used a lot of wine in his barbecue sauce. Now, I know I've heard time and time again that when you cook with alcohol, the alcohol cooks out, so that way you don't get drunk off of anything that you eat. Whether that's that apparently seems to be the case. But I also remember that when my Uncle Bruce would be outside at the grill cooking all this chicken and whatnot using my grandfather's barbecue sauce, it seemed like no matter where he would stand, the wind would shift, and he was constantly in a huge cloud of smoke. After about 15-20 minutes, I don't know how, but this man was absolutely smashed, completely drunk, standing there laughing and just carrying on about this, that, or the other. Never seen in my entire life a person get drunk without actually consuming any alcohol, but he was inhaling it apparently. I didn't know that was possible, but I remember quite well that he got himself good and loaded just on barbecue sauce smoke. But we always had so much fun at these little get-togethers. Usually, a lot of us had fireworks that we had, picked up from a few days beforehand or whatever, and we would bring them there. And usually, we would wait, obviously, till late at night, so that way we could all set them off. But usually, we made sure we had a lot of daytime fireworks to play with. The little snakes and the poppers and the firecrackers, black cats, ladyfingers, all that good stuff. Just light them, throw them here, light them, throw them there, throw them at each other. All the kind of things that, you probably really shouldn't do nowadays. I remember my Uncle Eddie would always get a hold of the bottle rockets. And back then, bottle rockets were illegal. I don't know. I'm sure there probably still are. Who knows? But he always went, I don't remember, I think he went over to Idaho and was able to get them. I guess they were legal over there. But he always had several of those. And I remember he got himself a big, long piece of PVC pipe. I think it was probably a good 3 feet long. And he had one of our friends of the family named Roger. He would fire those things off. He would stick it at the end of the pipe, and he would light it, and he would point it up in the air, and just pop. And we'd all be all ooh, ah. And I remember he'd be firing those things off, and either Eddie or Bruce would be telling him, point it higher, point it higher. And he'd be pointing that pipe higher and higher. Next thing you know, he would point that pipe straight up, and that bottle rocket would come crashing down through that pipe and land at his feet and go off and be chasing him all around the yard. We always got the biggest kick out of that, because after that it was fair game on Roger. My uncles would always light some of the bottle rockets and put them just like actually in a bottle and fire it at him, and it seemed like no matter where that poor bugger ran, them things were right on his heels and just chased him all around the yard. And I don't think he had as much fun with it as we did, but good times were had by all. I remember I used to be able to get a couple of, I think they were M60s or M80s from my Uncle Eddie. He always seemed to get a hold of a few of those, and he would give a couple of the older kids one or two to use, and those things were pretty potent little crackers there. And I remember I decided I was going to play a little, I don't know what you call it, prank or whatever on one of my cousins. So I remember I had some extra fuses from some fireworks that I had before, and I had rigged an extra long fuse on one of the M60s that I had, and I just remember pretending like, I'm tired of these, M60s, these firecrackers, they're dumb, they don't do anything, they're just loud, and I don't want to mess with them anymore, so I'm just going to throw them in the burner barrel. And I would light one without my cousin knowing it, and he'd be like, don't throw it away, give it to me, I want to play with them, I want to do it. And I would just act like I was ignoring him, and I'd have this lit M60 in my hand, and I would just throw it in the burner barrel, and he would rush over there, and he would look down in that burner barrel, try to see if he could find out where it was at so he could grab it, and then boom! And you'd see some little kid covered from here up with just nothing but black ash. Oh, it was a thing of beauty, especially hearing that loud bang and hearing that 55-gallon drum that we used to burn trash and just rattle from the force of that explosion. Just see this big, huge black cloud of just ash and whatever just flying through the air. And then just seeing this kid turn around completely black from here up. Oh, never got in trouble for that, though. I know I probably should have, but I guess, for some reason, I didn't. And oh boy, was it fun doing that to him. Oh, remember we always had so much fun there and such great food. And I remember usually it was always so hot there. I mean, duh, it's July, that's the way it is. Over there in Oregon, we didn't have humidity like we do here in Oklahoma. Oh God, do we have humidity. And it sucks. Nothing like saying, oh, it's 99 degrees outside, but with the heat index, it's 198,000 degrees, and you're going to step outside and you're going to sizzle. Yeah, how wonderful is that? It's going to be a rotten day, or at least for me, a rotten walk to work. As soon as I open the door to the apartment, my glasses immediately fog up. It's horrendous. Just you feel like you're just going to drown before I even, get halfway to work. But over there, it's a dry heat. It's not that bad. It feels so much better than where they have humidity because it's a dry heat. Oh, whatever. If it's 108, 10, 12 degrees outside, it's hotter than hell. I don't care. But usually during the during the day of the 4th, when guys are out cooking, it's going to be a couple hours or so before everything's ready. Usually all the wives and the girlfriends and just, all the women in general, they didn't want to be outside in the heat with all the dumb guys. So they'd be, inside and, just chit-chatting about whatever. And over there, that part of the country, a lot of people use something called a swamp cooler. And if you're not familiar with what a swamp cooler is, it's just like one of these window unit air conditioners, except it's hooked up to your water line. So when you turn that thing on, it will get a place cold. And I don't mean just, there's a slight chill in the air. No, I'm talking cold. When you walk into the house and you see all the women sitting in the chairs and the couches, and they've got sweatshirts and light jackets on, and you can see your breath. You walk in there and you're steaming. It's cold in there. And that'll about take your breath away when it's like 108 degrees outside and you walk in and it's literally in the upper 30s, maybe low 40s in the house. That'll about knock you down. Worst part is when you're done doing whatever you were doing in the house, which is usually just running to go to the bathroom or whatever, and then you decide to go back outside. Oh man, you talk about horrid. Going from 40 degrees inside to like 109 out there. Whew, if you're not careful, that'll knock you out. And I don't mean figuratively, I mean literally. Makes your head spin, I'll tell you that much. I don't know how those women could I don't know why they had it so dang cold in there. It would have been nice if just had it at 60, but no, let's have it like, 42 degrees in here so you can sit there and talk to each other and see each other's breath. Which is ridiculous. And I remember once they all came, finally it was time and they all came out and we'd sit down and we'd have, our wonderful, get together, our wonderful food of this, that, and the other, and we'd all get done, and we just all kind of seem to collect in little pods of people just talking about this, that, and the other. And I remember my uncle had one of those real chintzy aluminum sheds, ones that you just had outside that you just parked like your lawnmower in, made of, real, I always thought they were real flimsy, just real cheap aluminum. And we happened to be on the front where the doors were, and there were several of the women in the backside, and they were, when you're around something like that, you lean up against it while you're talking. Well, we were there, and my uncle Eddie, he kind of goes like this, motions to us, tell us to kind of step away from the building, and he pulls an M80 out of his pocket, and he carefully slides open the door, and he lights that sucker and just tosses it in there, close the door, wait a few seconds, and you just hear this bang and sound of rattling aluminum, and a whole bunch of really, really loud, high-pitched screams. Nothing like scaring the hell out of a bunch of women, huh? I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't do it. You know, he would have to answer to them. But nothing like doing that. Having a little bit of fun at the expense of others. That's what the 4th is all about. Oh, I always remember such a great experience on those days. I remember one thing we used to, well, me and a couple others, the older kids would like to do, had these one type of fire. Well, I wouldn't call them fireworks. They were called artificial satellites. I don't even know if they still have them nowadays. But basically, all it was just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. It was made out of like real thin aluminum. It's almost just like they had it in a circle, and they cut like little flaps on it, and it had a little booster about the size of an average firecracker. You just light that thing and you'd set it down on a hard flat surface, and it would just go, and that was it. No bang, no sparks. It would just zip up in the air, and then the booster would go out, and it would fall. That was it. Probably one of the most boring firecrackers or fireworks ever made. I mean, I personally consider those right there with the snakes. You know what I'm talking about? The little round black things that you would sit there and try to light the whole top and not just a little corner, and it would crackle and that little black soot snake would come out. I rated it about right there. But I discovered one thing you could do to make it a little bit more fun. We saved those artificial satellites, and we would use those during the day, like when the men are busy cooking or preparing stuff. Go out to my grandparents' house, which was quarter mile away from my uncle's house, and we'd go in the house and we'd grab the 20 gauge, a couple handfuls of shells, go out into one of the fields where we knew, you know, we weren't going to get in any trouble by damaging or hurting anything, and find yourself a nice big rock or a cinder block or something like that, and get those artificial satellites out. We'd all take turns. One person would be there with the artificial satellite. We'd have the lighter in our hand, and we'd be waiting. The other person would be sitting there with the shotgun, loading that thing up, and we'd be ready, and we'd be pull. They'd light that thing, and go zzz, boom. Yeah, I know, nothing says redneck like shooting little tiny aluminum artificial satellites like they were clay pigeons. But that was the beauty of it. For one thing, you had to hit the dang thing. Like I said, they're only about this big. Clay pigeons, I believe, it's been a while, but I think they're about that big. So you're trying to hit something about 1/3 the size. And then it was always fun to see how badly you hit it. When you'd get it, you'd see all the little holes in it. Keeping the souvenirs. And of course, when you got back, you know, they'd all be able to hear the gunshots. They were wondering what in the heck you were doing over there, and you just hold up these little artificial satellites. You know, you guys really shouldn't be doing that. You know, not saying, you know, you guys are like 7, 8, 10 years old. You shouldn't be using a shotgun to begin with. No, not that. It's, you guys should be careful, and you know you shouldn't be doing that to begin with. You know, it had nothing to do with our personal safety, or that it was slightly illegal for us to be using a shotgun at our age. They were more concerned about us accidentally, you know, shooting something, like shooting one of the livestock or one of the vehicles or something like that. That's all they were concerned about. But I'd have to say probably one of my favorite memories from back, you know, the 4th of July is when I was a kid, is where I lived with my mom and my brother. We were literally like probably 50 yards from a park. It was the smallest park in my hometown, but still it was the size of an entire block. And I'm not talking like one of these great big city blocks like Los Angeles where it's, 20 miles that way and 20 miles that way. Just an average block, if that makes any sense. But anyways, it was about 50 yards away from our house. And I remember one year, actually it was the morning of the 5th is when it actually would be. My brother and I, we would go out and we'd go to the 3 parks in our hometown to go digging in the trash cans for aluminum cans. Because over there in Oregon, aluminum cans were worth 5 cents a piece. You can make yourself a decent amount of money collecting a bunch of them. So we went to go over to the park to go through the trash cans and look for aluminum cans to collect. And I remember, wasn't that far in the park, like maybe 20, 30 feet, saw this apple box, one of those cardboard apple boxes. And, there's a couple beer cans scattered around. And we get up there, and this thing is about a third full of fireworks. And I'm not talking about the cheap ones. I'm talking about the good, high-quality fireworks. And we get close, and we could tell why there were all these unused fireworks in this apple box, because the whole thing reeked of beer. So it told us right away what had happened. A bunch of guys got together, got drunk, were setting off fireworks, and spilled their beer on these fireworks. And instead of being smart and just putting them in their vehicle and, saving them for, another day to let them dry out, they left them there. Me and my brother collected them, probably at least $100 worth of fireworks, if not more. And like I said, these weren't just the little cheap ones, like little sparklers and stuff like that. No, these were really good quality fireworks. I don't know how much you pay for them nowadays. It would probably be worth about $200 to $300 nowadays. But my brother and I, we would just, we didn't care about the cans anymore, We just took that home. Mom, look, we found it. We'd go and we just got to sort through them, and we'd set them out on the porch, because if any of them needed to dry, we'd let them dry out a little bit more, and we'd save them for that night. And my mom would sit on the front porch, and me and my brother would take turns setting off all these beautiful fireworks that we had gotten for the very next day. And I remember that happened. I think it happened about a good 3-4 years in a row. We'd go over there in the exact same spot. There'd be an apple box, anywhere from a quarter to a third full of these just beautiful, high-quality fireworks. Reeked of beer, but, who cares? And we'd set them suckers off, and we'd just have ourselves the greatest time. It's memories like that that just, make me miss those times when I could, spend time with family. But that's that time of the year. That's what you do. And that's what 4th of July is about, getting together, celebrating with family and friends and loved ones, celebrating America's birthday, and just having all kinds of fun, eating until you can't breathe, trying to keep from blowing yourself up or anything important. But that was the nature of the game. That's the nature of the holiday. That's just the way it always is, and that's the way it always was, and probably always will be. But anyways, that'll be it for this video. I just wanted to share some little stories with you for about this time of year. I hope that every single one of you are going to have a fun and safe 4th of July holiday. It's not really a weekend, so I don't know what you'd want to call it. Just Independence Day holiday, 4th of July holiday, whatever the heck you want to call it. I hope you all have a great time. Enjoy either time with just yourself doing whatever, or spending time with family, having lots of good food, enjoying festivities, enjoying getting to see fireworks. Whatever it is you do, I just hope you have a wonderful, safe holiday. And hopefully these simple little stories of memories of when I was a kid, hopefully, they made you smile. Maybe made you laugh or chuckle a little bit. Hopefully it brightened your day some. As long as, including my little regalia here. Wanted to do something to just brighten things up, look kind of cheerful. Couldn't find a hat, but what are you going to do? I got myself a little tie and I got myself a little necklace. Just get myself looking all festive for you. But anyways, if I made you smile, made you laugh, just brighten your day up a little bit, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it as much as you possibly can. Tell your friends about this goofball that you know that's putting these videos out. And see how many subscribers I can get. See how many people I can get to join in on our fun. Because that's what I'm here for. Is to make you smile, make you laugh. Try to brighten your day. I'm doing it all for you people. So go out there and tell your friends, tell your family, tell complete strangers, whip them around, say, hey, have you seen this idiot that I know? He makes these little videos about this, that, and the other. If you haven't started watching him, you need to. And they'll be like, okay. Or they'll call the cops. 50-50, but give it a shot anyways, you never know. So, but that's it for this week. And I will have another video for you next week. Same as always. And we'll just see what we're going to do. So, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for all of those out there that have already subscribed to this. Thank you for being a part of what I'm trying to do here. Just being silly, being ridiculous, making people smile, making people laugh, just trying to cheer you up, because that's something I've always enjoyed doing. That's what I've always wanted to do, is find some way to be able to bring a little happiness into people's lives. So at least for right now, this is the media I'm using. This is how I'm going to do it. So at any time, if any of you people out there have ideas or suggestions on what you'd like me to do, talk about, or anything like that, please leave a comment down below. I haven't gotten too many comments on a whole, but I will respond to every comment I get if humanly possible. Just let me know your thoughts, and like I said, I will respond to them as quickly as I can. But as I said for like the third time already, possibly, that's going to be it for this video. That's going to be it for this week. So I will have a new video for you all next Tuesday, and unless something comes up, I'll have one every Tuesday. This one's running a little late because I had an appointment, but I made it, and so I will see you all next week. Thank you all for being here. I love you all very, very much. Please enjoy yourselves. Have a great holiday. Please be safe. And I will see you all next week. See ya!